Khaenri'ah. Silly Khaenri'ah. A nation that destroyed itself born of hubris and arrogation. You hate to see it. Yet despite Khaenri'ah seemingly being destroyed by the gods,
later events unfolded just as you remember. It was all destroyed by gods. 500 years ago, the gods descended upon the world and brought desolation to Khaenri'ah.
500 years ago, he failed to prevent the destruction of Khaenri'ah.
I mean, hell, to reinforce all this is the waypoint for the door to Khaenri'ah, which wrote, quotes, a grand and majestic gate leading to a world beneath the soil. It is sealed tight as of the present, and the once prosperous kingdom that lay behind the door has also long since turned to rubble. Is this true, though? Is Khaenri'ah really nothing but ruins and rubble? Or is this the work of those damned Khaenri'ahs in that propaganda machine meant to stir up sympathy for the cause? Because you see, despite being described in this manner constantly, people still live there, and willingly it sounds like. I mean, hell, the present-day goal of the Abyss sibling is in part to revive the homeland.
In focusing single-mindedly on confronting the heavenly principles, we neglected our original mission, the revival of the homeland.
Aside from Kaeya and his family being from Khaenri'ah, Dain quite literally tells us that there's still people in Khaenri'ah who dream of dreaming.
In the perpetual meantime of a sheltered eternity, most are content to live and not to dream. But in the hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall, there are those who dream of dreaming. Some say a few are chosen and the rest are dregs. But I say we humans have our humanity. We will defy this world with a power from beyond.
Now granted, it isn't absolutely impossible that it could be just like a couple hundred people living in some rubbles, but like, really? I mean, due to Kaeya being in Mondstadt, we know they're, scheming something. With whatever finite amount of resources they have, but are these resources enough to harbor life in Khaenri'ah? I mean, evidently, considering it's not like it was reported Kaeya was especially skinny when left at the Dawn Winery. Furthermore, it must be at least nice enough to the point where Dain wishes to return there to rest once his journey has completed topside.
I still have some things left unfinished. Once they are done, I too will return home to rest.
But with that said, who lives there? I mean, we can probably assume Kaeya's father is there right now, maybe his mom, maybe some cousins, maybe an uncle, all of which who are either immune to the curse or the effects of the curse just stopped at the first generation of Khaenri'ahs who were alive during the Cataclysm. It's never stated. This part of the story is weird because the curse laid upon the inhabitants of Khaenri'ah was either meant specifically for the people alive at that time, or all Khaenri'ahs indiscriminates of their time period are cursed for their sins of their ancestors. In which case, Kaeya's families are monsters for bringing him into this world, or just really optimistic that whatever the sleeper agent shit is will work. But given Kaeya is the only, new-gen Khaenri'ah who doesn't appear to be bound by the curse, odds are the curse just didn't carry on. Just because think about it, every other person we've met from Khaenri'ah, I mean, I say every other person, but it's literally just two dudes, huh? Or nope, it's just, well, technically it's just one, dainsleif. But Piero, we know, they were both alive during the Cataclysm and both cursed with immortality. Piero almost certainly resides in Snezhnaya, and as stated earlier, Dain is going right back to Khaenri'ah when all is said and done. But the point I'm trying to make here is that of the three people we know from Khaenri'ah, Kaeya is the only new blood who wasn't alive during the Cataclysm and doesn't seem to be affected by the curse. We'll have to verify once we meet other younger Khaenri'ahs, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Regardless of whatever state Khaenri'ah is in right now, it does seem like some of their residents are scheming something, just because, that always goes well for them. Kaeya's story on Visions writes, quotes, there was a side to Kaeya that he kept hidden from the world. In truth, he was an agent of Khaenri'ah, placed in Mondstadt to serve their interests. His father had abandoned him in this strange and unknown land to fulfill this mission, and it was Master Krepus and the city of Mondstadt that had welcomed him with open arms when they found him. His character story 4 gives us some more insight into his abandonment, as the last words Kaeya's father said to him before leaving him were, quote, this is your last chance, you are our last hope. Kaeya would never forget the look of both hope and hatred in his father's eyes as he uttered those words. Okay, now let's sit back and think. No one truly knows what those words means. This is your last chance. You are our last hope. Not even Kaeya. Those are super fucking ambiguous words, man. The only person who truly knows what those words means are his father. Now, Kaeya, it seems, and most everyone else has seemingly gone with the idea that it means he will one day serve Khaenri'ah's best interests akin to a sleeper agent. It's why he and Diluc fought when Kaeya revealed this information to him, and it's why Kaeya questions whose side he should take if Mondstadt and Khaenri'ah were to go to war. And to us, given Kaeya's ancestry is specifically linked with Clothar, who founded the Abyss Order, we even question if Kaeya is secretly working for the Order.
Kaeya, you're not involved with the Abyss Order in any way, are you?
Hey, hold on now. This conversation has taken a rather sudden turn for the deadly serious. And I'm afraid that as someone from Mondstadt, I'm not accustomed to this sort of atmosphere. So what if I know my ancestry? Do I strike you as the type who would be bound by that kind of thing? Relax. I'll be just as delighted to hunt down the Abyss Order tomorrow as I have always been.
But this is all super fucking, like, nihilistic, pessimistic, everything above. It's important to keep in mind that Clothar was always a stain on the Alberich name, and even before he founded the Abyss Order, Clothar seemingly faced consequences for having an illegitimate son.
He is Khaenri'ah, my illegitimate son. How times have changed. I can say that out loud with no consequence now, but it was once a matter of unspeakable shame. I was a noble of Khaenri'ah. I resented the life that my family had arranged for me. Khaenri'ah faced great hardship from the very moment of his birth, all due to my selfish desires, and I was never able to be there by his side for any of it.
Despite being a noteworthy person bearing the name Alberich, what Kaeya was taught regarding his family's history seemingly did not mention Clothar at all. Actually, it didn't mention Clothar at all, because dainsleif had to be the one to tell him about it. They tried to erase this nigga from history, bro. As all he saved in his writing when he was a kid was, quote, "Remember always that it was the Alberich clan who did not have royal blood, who stepped in as regents when the strength of the one-eyed King Ermin failed. Though we could not restore Khaenri'ah to life, we of the Alberich clan should lead lives as those who blaze like fire, rather than those who wallow in the embers." So it seems like they've completely erased this nigga from history. However, therein lies the problem, because while the Alberich clan want to be remembered as the clan that stepped up when King Ermin could no longer rule, because, you know, it was the great Anfortes Alberich declared himself regent to stabilize the nation. The dark cloud that is Clothar Alberich is one from which they cannot escape, and his legacy is all around them, given the Abyss Order is presently around attacking everything in sight. So what if, instead of Kaeya being placed into that to serve some nefarious Khaenri'ah purpose, he's there instead to wipe out the greatest stain on the Alberich name and put down the Abyss Order? Because it's like the old saying, it takes an Alberich to take down an Alberich. Just because realistically, you're trying to tell me that after a failed rebellion against the gods, with forbidden knowledge and an army of automatons and the art of Kaeya and Rhindaughter at the strength of the Empire, they still failed, and they are now plotting again to go against the Seven, hoping Kaeya can do it? I don't know, man. It seems like presently Khaenri'ah is a nation that only desires to dream.